My guest is Sue Bazely, and we're going to be talking about Jane's Walks. I'm so glad you came in to talk about this.
Well, thanks for having me, Donna.
I go every year and absolutely enjoy it. Look forward to it, and it's that perfect time, the first weekend in May, and it's just a perfect time to explore our city. Start by telling me, where did Jane's Walks come from?
So Jane's Walks is named for Jane Jacobs, and Jane Jacobs was an activist and author in the 60s and 70s, 1960s and 1970s, and she was really about advocating for neighborhoods and the people who lived in neighborhoods being the experts on their neighborhood, knowing what was going on and what things you could see and what you could learn about, but also about public activism and people advocating for having diverse neighborhoods. So she was a proponent of walking, a great proponent of walking and getting to know your neighborhood by talking to your neighbors and learning things about the spaces and places that were in each neighborhood. So she was quite amazing in advocating for these things, and especially in planning diverse neighborhoods.
Well, yeah, because for so long, the subdivisions with the shopping, you had to drive. There was really no choice, and yeah, she was way ahead of her time.
Definitely.
And her influence has continued. But this is such a great idea, because the best part is it's free.
That's right.
It is, and I have learned so much. I think still my favorite was, and you've got it on again this year, about the Sick City,
Yeah.
and it's about the evolution of medicine, of course, with the medical school here at Queen's going back many years. It was so interesting.
Yeah.
And that was one of my favorites. But you got some new ones this year.
We do. We have a total of 20 walks this year, and of those 20, 10 are either brand new or updates from previous walks that have been done a few years ago. So we've got everything from natural landscapes, looking at natural landscapes, urban natural landscapes, to historic environments. So we've got urban birding. For instance, we've got a look at McGaffin Stadium and how it developed, and the same thing with the Memorial Center. We've got information about Des Moines Point and the trees, and lots of different natural aspects, but also different cityscapes, streetscapes such as Queen Street and William Street. We also have walks on the 3 different heritage conservation districts in Kingston. So that's pretty amazing. So
it's such a cross section. So if you're one who's into hiking and you know that's your favorite thing, you've got that covered. And if you're a confirmed what's the word I'm looking at? I just lost the word. Urbanite. Then
yes.
That is well covered. If you're a history buff,
yes.
That's all well covered. But I think what surprised me in these different walks is you walk past these buildings, you know, like I don't know how many times, and you look at it and you say, oh, yeah, you might even not even have noticed it. But then you stop in front of it, and the guide fills you in.
yeah.
It is so interesting. It's like, never noticed that before. It's just crazy. And so tell me about the guides, the people that lead the walks.
Right, so they're all volunteers, community members, usually a resident of the area or a community association, a few sort of historians and other experts such as myself as an archaeologist, but it's really people who know their neighborhoods, their environments, and what we're looking at, and sharing that with the individuals. So yes, everybody is volunteering their time, both to put together the various walks and then to give the tours themselves.
And if you don't drive, you're fine, because there's so many. They're in every neighborhood. There's Berryfield. I've always enjoyed that one. That is such an interesting area. There's the Tet Center, more to the west. There is so much. You've really got a real variety here.
Yeah, there's also, if you're into cycling, there is a bicycle tour of a different section of the KMP Trail. So you can take your bike along, ride your bike, and do that as well. So not all walking tours.
Right. And just kind of watch that, because sometimes it is a lot of walking.
It is a lot of walking. The tour I'm doing is about an hour and a half,
Yeah.
and we cover quite a bit of ground downtown.
Yeah, that was the hidden cemetery. I
Cemeteries.
took that one, and
Yes.
it was a lot of walking, and it was
Yes.
on the weather wasn't the greatest
No,
that
it
day. I
wasn't.
remember that it was cold.
Dedicated walkers.
Right. And that's the thing. You go rain or shine,
That's right.
you will be there somehow.
Yes, so
And,
come prepared.
Come prepared. Come prepared. Yeah. You run on a Friday, a Saturday, a Sunday, the first weekend in May.
That's right.
And give me a rundown. What are some of the new ones that you're really excited about?
Wow, well, there's the urban birding. So learning
Yeah.
about the birds that we see in our backyards
Okay.
and in our neighborhoods, immediate neighborhoods. So not just out in the marsh areas, but in our gardens and streets. The one on Market Square. So Market Square is a heritage conservation district. So
Yes.
sharing the heritage planner is going to be sharing stories. City's heritage planner will be sharing stories and information about the buildings and why the Market Square is a heritage conservation district. So that one's
Well, as you know, I'm a tour guide at City Hall, so I am I'm taking that one in. I've got it marked
Yes.
on my calendar for sure. That one's a
Yes.
for sure for me.
yes.
Yeah.
And the Memorial Center, it's now was done a few years ago, but there's a lot of additional information on that one. So the history and development of the Memorial Center from the grounds, from its ownership by the British military right up until today. So that one should be quite interesting. I'm just trying to think what else is new. Tall trees. The importance of trees, and that's out at Lemoyne's Point. So that is one being given by Indigenous peoples, and sharing information and knowledge about why trees are so important. There's also an urban gardens in Portsmouth Village.
Oh,
So
that would be interesting.
the community
Yeah.
gardens and the urban spaces that have been taken care of and established by different groups in Portsmouth. So that one I think should be quite interesting. Again, so not just buildings. So buildings seem to get a lot of attention because they're really noticeable and kind of in your face, especially in the urban landscape. But there seems to be a lot more of the kind of natural landscape, natural history of the Kingston area, which again, in an urban context, we tend to not think about. There being nature all around us. So I think that's quite fascinating. I'm just trying to think what else. I'm just gonna refer to my cheat sheet here.
When I first moved here, trying to get to know the city of Kingston, I was a newcomer to Kingston, and I still remember the first year being introduced to, we have a castle in Kingston.
Right.
Who knew?
Right.
And tell me the story behind Macintosh
Castle.
That is so interesting.
Right. So essentially, let's see if I can recall it correctly. Macintosh Castle was conceived by a fairly wealthy merchant
A Scotsman,
in
no
Kingston.
less, right?
Yes,
Macintosh.
exactly. His new wife, they sort of wanted to have a castle, and so he decided to build Macintosh Castle. And of course, Macintosh Castle is on the corner of West and Sydenham, I believe.
I
Get that?
believe so, yeah.
And it has little sort of crenellations and battlements, and it's up on a hill. It's a very, very small scale castle.
That's the joke, because she
Yes.
moved here and she said, you said you were, and you said, well, I didn't say what size.
Right.
I wish I could do a Scottish accent, because I could just imagine him breaking that to her. She's standing there with this look of
a little
horror.
disappointed.
A little disappointed.
But it is really a beautiful building.
It sure is.
And
It
a
sure is.
lovely site looking over City Park.
And the whole story about why we're the Limestone City. And I'm sure we'll get into that with the Market Square. I'll leave that as a
Yes.
yes. It's there's a reason why we are the Limestone City.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it is a really terrific weekend, and you can't take them all in. Don't think you can do all 20. You can't, and pick and choose carefully, because even though there's one in the morning, one in the afternoon, you may not be up to doing the one in the afternoon. If you're not used to walking,
That's right.
it's a lot of walking.
It is a lot of walking. Even spread over the 3 days, it's a lot of walking. But the good thing is, because we get repeats each year, there's an opportunity oftentimes to take a tour that you missed one year, because they are, some of them are repeated. So we started this in, John Grenville, who's the coordinator, started in 2015. So technically it's the 10th anniversary, excuse me. But we had a little hiatus during COVID, so there were 3 years when it wasn't held, unfortunately. But given that we started in 2015, this is a tremendous effort, I think, on the part of the community members who are putting these tours together and walking and figuring out what kind of cool things there are to see and to teach people about. And I think most of the tours can be very interactive, and certainly questions are encouraged.
That's right.
So,
and you can bring your dogs and your kids and push a stroller, and you can do all of that. And it's a really nice atmosphere.
It is.
And it's among people who are interested enough in whatever it is the tour is about, to go on a tour. So you get a really interesting group of people that have made it a point to go and actually do this. And yeah, I look forward to it every year, and I'll be there again this year.
And I'm constantly amazed at, I always figure I'm going to know someone on one of the on one of the walks, and I'm constantly amazed at the number of people I've never seen before. And some people come, like you, come dedicated every year, and each year we get more and more people who've never done this before. So it's really it's an amazing opportunity for people to learn about the place that we call Kingston, and we share with many different people and many different animals and
birds and all kinds of things. Absolutely. So the easiest way to find it is Google Jane's Walks Kingston 2025. It'll take you right to the site. It gives you a really good lineup, and as well it tells you what to expect, what kind of walking. Is there a lot of stairs? Is there uneven pavement, that kind of thing? You're pretty good about doing that too. So, well, I hope it's successful again this year, as it has been in other years, and hope you get lots of new people to come out and
in good weather.
In good weather, for sure. But lots of people to take in Jane's Walk. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Donna, for having me and letting me talk about it.
Thank you.